Okay, so first I take and roll down the top of each of my rectangles a 1/2 inch at a time and simply sew the top. If I'm using a filter, I take my filter piece, this time a piece of flannel, I place it in, noticed I had cut it an inch shorter, and I roll over the top of the hem onto the flannel on the second piece. Next, I take the two pieces, right side to right side, and I line them up at the top. I sew down the side in about a 3/8 inch seam. When I get near the bottom, I lift my presser foot and I insert the elastic band that goes on the bottom, like this, between the two right side pieces. I then sew off the end, or near the end, leaving about another 1/2 inch seam. I turn my piece of fabric. I sew along the bottom. And when I get close to this side, once again lift my presser foot and I insert my second piece of elastic onto this side. Like this, between the two correct sides of fabric. I then sew down the piece of fabric, like this. Next, I trim the corners off so that when I turn it right side out, it's not too bulky on the corners. The one item I forgot to show you is that I insert a noseband into whichever side I intend to be the front. So I take it and I insert it into the seam line so that this metal piece is near the center of my fabric. Then I turn it in right side out. Notice I have two loose elastic bands. I take this fabric and next I add in the pleats. So I take whichever side I want to be the front, the pleats go down. I fold it into a Z shape and I pin it. My goal is to get roughly 3 pleats into a side. In that time I actually made them too big, so make them a little bit smaller. Like so. And like so. I do flare out the bottom pleat just a tad bit. So you'll notice it sits a little bit higher so that this curve that goes around the bottom of your chin fits a little snugger to the chin. Next, I do the opposite side. Once again, flaring out the bottom piece just a tad. Now I'm ready to complete it. So I feel for where my metal rod is in the top of my mask, and at the end of the metal rod towards the top, I sew, lift it up, Evan, please, so I can see. I sew halfway between the edge of my fabric and the hemline. I sew across. I take out my first pin. I insert the elastic untwisted into the top along the seam line. Along the hemline, should I say. And I sew straight over. I make a couple reverse stitches just to make sure it's attached good. Rotate my fabric. Pleats still in. A little tricky the first time you do it, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. Put my presser foot back down. Sew along. Take the pins out. I go down. I try to leave the flare on the bottom pleat. Lift my pin. Sew all around the edge. Lift it. Remove my pins as I go. And once I remove the pin for the very top pleat, I take this piece of elastic, I try not to twist it, stick it inside on top of my seam line, sew up again, back up a few stitches, and then I make sure that I feel for where the end of my metal piece is. I sew between the edge of the fabric and the hemline again. On my sewing machine, knot it, and then I have a mask. The nose piece is bendable to the nose, and you can wear it just like it fits.